Arizona Blues says, please inform Chris Davis there is a legitimate tactic in football and it's called shooting. Welcome back to 20 minutes of Birmingham City review. This week we are looking back on that Stoke City game and many fans are saying we are just too easy to play against and something needs to change. We're also starting to see a very small amount of fans calling for Chris Davis to be sacked. That is scandalous. Or is that becoming more inevitable? We're also talking about Captain Wallace, 2 games for the new captain and 2 losses, and we're also asking the panel whether they would choose Birmingham to be promoted or England to win the World Cup come the summer. We'll get Paul, Jason and Adam's view on that. Do stay with us till the end. Thank you very much for joining us. Right then, Paul. Fans are saying we're too predictable. All you've got to do is, beat our press and, we're not going to score ever. Do you agree?
Well, it's hard not to agree, isn't it? I just don't think there's a plan B. I think we just stick at knocking the ball around slowly with no real intent to sort of try and break a line or try and get the ball forward to anyone. And we just sort of sit. Anyone who sits deep against us and then catches us on the break seems to do well against us. And every team is looking the same thing and thinking, well, if they're just going to stick to plan A and not change anything up, then we'll just stick to doing what we're doing because it gets a result out of us.
This tweet here, Jason Lee says, we are one of the easiest teams in the league to play against. Just press us and let us have the ball as we'll absolutely shit ourselves in the final third. What are your reflections on the away result at Stoke? Which is a hard place to go, isn't it? They have started well, so it's not a bad result, but fans aren't happy.
I think there's a way you lose a football game, and when you're absolutely offering nothing of any substance, and they scored a pretty poor goal from our point of view, it's hard to not be negative after that. Like it could be Oxford, or it could be the best team in the league. If you're not going to offer anything and you're going to let poor goals like that be conceded from a set piece, then it's a difficult one to take. Even after their good start to the season, we should be offering more than that. They've not got a great side, and I know we've won at Stoke before, but if you're not going to offer anything, then not much we can do.
Yeah. Some fans are worried about Cochrane, Adam. We'll come on to some of those tweets in a second. This one here says, it wasn't a great performance, to say the least, but hopefully it's highlighted our weaknesses to Chris Davis and he changes it up next game. I would play Laird at left back and maybe put Doyle in with Pack. We missed Anderson's graph today. The jury's still out on Big Phil. Where'd you stand on all that?
We did miss Anderson. I wouldn't say we missed him at all. Listen, if we want, we're not going to win football matches in this league by just grafting. You're going to need to be able to break teams down and have a cutting edge about yourselves. We haven't got that. If I'm being brutally honest, we didn't have it last season. Hence, we bored teams to death by just having the ball for 80% of the possession. I said it last season. We had a great starting 11, but we had nothing off the bench. The same this season. It's not far off the same starting 11. We've added a lot of free players, a lot of loans. We haven't really spent much money what everyone and the media thought we were going to spend. And the bench looks very, very poor again. So you've got no plan B coming off the bench. So it's looking worrying at the minute. I'm not worried too much, but it's not a good start to the season, considering the first game against Ipswich went so well. It's kind of gone a bit downhill as the weeks have gone on.
Fans are getting the managers back for a number of reasons. One, Paul, is the substitutions. They're finding these substitutions baffling. Are you?
I think they can be. I think there is times where I think he leaves it a bit late, or he brings on players, and you do scratch your head a little bit, and you sort of hope that you think, well, there's a reason he's sat in the dugout and I'm sat on this podcast and not in a dugout somewhere. But you do sit there sometimes thinking something needs to be done sooner, or something like it. I just don't get it. We have these players that, like Tommy Doyle, I expected him to. I watch him and I think there's something in there, something good in there. But then we just don't seem to play in any way that sort of generates any sort of attacking flair. We put it out to the wing, then we take it back to a fullback, and then we play it back into the middle. And there's just no. I don't think it matters what subs you make if you're not playing the right way. It ain't gonna make it. You could have Erling Haaland up front. If you don't get the ball in there, he ain't gonna score a goal.
Yeah. This was one opinion, Jason. Baffling subs. He left Cochrane, which was getting about 6 Newcastle's tour, and Gray, who looked like he'd just done a 90s weekend at Butlins, both on, and took off Laird and Roberts, who were the only ones looking like they could do something. Jakey Boy says, I was trying to give it time, but if we keep continuing to not create chances, then it's worrying. I'm also getting worried about Cochrane. And side note, Kyogo needs to play with Roberts. What about Cochrane? Other fans have mentioned as well, a little bit concerned about how easy he's getting beat. Do you share those views?
No, I mean, I get we were in League One and the opposition wasn't as good as this season, but the guy's been brilliant for us every single game, bar 2 games. One was against Newcastle, and granted, he had a really off game against Stoke for everyone, and that was plain to see. Their winger definitely had his number, but it is what it is. You can't expect players to be perfect every single game. You just move on and he learns from it. And hopefully he's better than that. If he keeps on doing it, then we have to start asking questions. But it's one game. I was seeing quite a few of the questions on Twitter about him, and I just didn't understand it. Like he's been so reliable, and there's a reason why he's played so many games. Just granted, I know Buchanan had his injury, but it's very, very, very harsh to be questioning Cochrane from there.
Okay. Adam Matt says Newman can't play forwards. Cochrane is a League One left. All the new signings, I want your view on this one, all the new signings have been awful, bar BOS. We might as well play my granddad's middle of the park for pack. And I might have seen them run around, it's like watching it on 4 times speed. Mid-table fodder, and that's absolute best. Thoughts?
I'm going to slightly disagree with Jason a little bit on Cochrane. My reason being, whenever he's played against someone pacey and direct, he's been ripped apart. Okay, I know the one lad was from Newcastle, but he weren't very good in the final that we got to at Wembley against another pacey winger. And then again, put up against a pacey winger at Stoke, he got ripped apart again. He's obviously struggling with that sort of directness at him, which we're going to get a lot more of in this league than we did last year. So there was obviously a reason why we were so heavily linked with a left back. I think Davis knows that, but unfortunately we didn't get one in. The other signings, well, obviously we've only really spent money on Kyogo. He's come in and not really hit the ground running, missed a few sitters in the first couple of games. The rest are all frees. When it's free transfers, I always think you can't expect a fat lot out of them. They're free for a reason mostly. I thought we would have done more in the transfer window. I'm a little bit disappointed with how it finished.
We'll get you all to grade the transfer window in a second. Paul, one thing that's puzzled me is Chris Davis. I'm not going to skirt over the fact that there's lots of praise for him and lots of Blues have called out these tweets we're going to talk about now, but there are some Blues fans saying, okay, it's time for him to go. If Knightshead are serious about this challenging, he's not the man for us. Do you understand fans putting that view out, or is it disrespectful in the highest that we're starting to see this after 5 games?
I don't call for any manager's head unless we're at a point where you think we're 5 games in. The season isn't over. So I just think that a lot of people like to panic, don't they? And they like the grass is always greener as well. It's like I've seen tweets about getting Nuno in and people like that, and you just think like your man's been sacked. Like he's been sacked, and then we're going, well, we could get him. And we've lost a couple of games. Everyone just needs to calm it down a bit. I think that we've got a manager who's very inexperienced, has no experience at this level, and I think that's the one thing that I looked at him even last season. His backroom staff is all inexperienced too. I think we could have done with some coaches that could have come in with a bit more experience to sort of have a chat with him in times and go, well, actually, this might work. I just think he's got the makings of a good manager who plays good football, and he just needs a bit of an old head to go, hold on a minute, let's try this out. Let's give this a go.
I think it's
Jonathan Grounds on set pieces is...
Well, yeah, Well, this one here says, please sack Jonathan Grounds. He was just a player, and he's even worse as a coach.
I agree with that 100%. Jonathan Grounds as a player, I used to sit watching him and think, how is he doing? When they said that he was coming back, I thought, what is he going to be? The mascot? What's he going to be like? And then when they said he's on set pieces, he's the set piece coach, and I watched the struggle at set pieces yesterday. I thought, wow, if Jonathan Grounds is your set piece coach, you're in trouble.
Okay. Adam?
I think it's the manner in which we're losing these games. You look at, I think Port Vale, I think there's some mad stat out there at the minute that we ain't had a shot on target in 3 games now or something. So I think it's that's killing people at the minute. I'm not one for Chris Davies out at the minute. I'm really not. But come on, bar Ipswich, it's gone bad to worse, and it's going downhill at the minute. There's no sign of an improvement. We've had one good game against Ipswich. We were very lucky against Blackburn. Let's just be realistic about that. By the last 2 minutes, we'd lost that game. And ever since then, it's just Port Vale was shocking. Stoke was shocking. Weren't very good at Leicester either, was we? So, yeah, he's got to pull his finger out, and I think he needs a change in personnel. But like I keep saying, I don't think he was backed very well, or as well as what we thought in the transfer window. So, inexperienced manager, not a big, heavy, over-powerful sized squad. We'll see.
Cheers for that, both of you. Mick here says, Jason, I've had every faith in him, but what's annoying is that he knows what the problems are, so just go and fix them then. He knows that we're too slow attacking-wise. He knows set pieces are absolutely terrible at both ends of the pitch. Get a good set piece coach in and play a midfielder who passes forwards. Do you subscribe to that, Jason?
I mean, he addressed it in his interview post-game that we're not moving the ball quick enough, but it's a reoccurring issue with Blues. We don't move it quick enough. We are far, for me, too set in our ways of sticking to this system of recycling the ball, and it's not going to work this season. League One sides were happy to put 11 men behind the ball and just try and get a point off us because the squad was an absolute joke. But this recycling the ball nonsense isn't going to work. We've got to move the ball quicker, and we've got to get players up the pitch and actually attack. And Davis is more than aware of it. Like I said, he said it in his interview after the game. I don't know if anyone watched it, but I was quite happy to actually reference that we're not moving the ball quick enough, and we're looking sort of scared when we go to attack. And the easy option is, I'll just pass it back to the fullback, I'll pass it back to Peck. And yeah, like I said, it's not going to work. So yeah, they've got to do something and sharpish.
Okay. Let's switch tack a little bit then. Paul, someone's pointed this out as well. Anthony Lloyd says 2 games as captain, he's lost both of them. Is that just a coincidence, or was the bigger? Is that just the worst tweet you've seen all week?
He spent most season as captain last season, and we won loads. So it's just a silly one, isn't it? People like to panic, don't they? People like to think they've got an amazing view on something. They pick something up and go, "Oh, this is groundbreaking. I'm going to tweet that out there."
Well, we put the best and the worst up there. That's what we do. Right, let's shift tack to talk about Swansea then. They've started quite well, Adam. They're not a bad side, but they are going to sit back, especially away from home. So this is another one of those teams you're going to have to break down.
Well, breaking teams down isn't our thing, is it? I think we know that. Unless we're going to bore them to death, like I've said earlier, then we'll have a chance of doing it. I'm hoping for maybe a change in formation, maybe a change in a few new faces in the starting 11. He's got 2 very big games for me now, Chris Davies has. I think if he doesn't come out of this with at least 4 points, I think there'll be a lot more fans, and I think even the board might be starting to get twitchy bum time.
Okay, all right. Let's have a look back at the transfer window. Last time we saw you, of course, it was a couple of days, 24 hours before the window was going to shut. Jason, from 1 to 10, how do you rate the business side of what's happened this summer?
I give it at the time. I give it 7 to 7.5, just because I think we have brought in pretty good quality of players. But there was a bit of a weird taste left in my mouth for me, and I think it's sort of what Adam has said. We all sort of thought there was going to be this big marquee signing. You had Tom Wagner sort of, we've got this revenue, we've got that revenue. So it always looked like there was money to spend and just not getting that real quality. Like, we have signed some good players. You can't say that we haven't, but I don't know. It was just a bit meh towards the ending, wasn't it? Because I think all Blues fans were expecting like something big. For me, I don't think it helps people's perceptions of the window as well. So the fact we went on that spree where it was like, what was it, 6 players in 6 days, something like that. So I don't think that helped getting that business done early, because people love the grand whole thing of deadline day, don't they? And don't get me wrong, Patrick Roberts and the experience of Robertson was decent to bring in, but it was a bit flat towards the end. So yeah, 7 for me.
Paul, any advances or?
People got too excited about Mitrovic, didn't they? People all thought Mitrovic was coming in, and it didn't happen. So I think a lot of people are disappointed with it. I think we were screaming out for a cover at left back or somebody to push for left back, and it just didn't arrive. I think we covered a lot of the other positions quite well, but none of them really make me think, oh, that's a really exciting signing. So it's. I think Tommy Doyle, is the most exciting one of the lot. Kyogo was a bit exciting, but then I watched him miss 7 chances in 2 games, and you think, oh, we've turned him into a Birmingham City player quickly.
So, what was there a number in there, Paul? Sorry,
Of 5, 6 average sort of rating.
Adam.
Yeah, pretty much what everyone said. I think, we started, like you said, we signed 6 in 6. They even tweeted, I think, on transfer deadline day, this time last year, we brought in 3 or 4 on the deadline, almost like a cryptic tweet that clubs do nowadays. And then, we just went and signed Roberts on loan, which, listen, I like him. I've always liked him. So I was happy with that. I thought there's the right winger spot done. But I look at some of the others, the German striker, unproven in this league. The German centre-back, unproven in this league. You can't go off what they've done in other leagues, because it changes when they move to a different league. They've got to do it in this league. I don't care what they've done elsewhere. Damari Gray's played over in Saudi, not the best standard for a very long time. Although I do think he's got something about him that will do it. Kyogo hasn't kicked a ball for 6 months. I think Tommy Doyle was probably the one that you thought, well, he's proven at this standard. I think he went up with Sheffield United, did he? So he was probably the one that I thought, he's coming in to cement a place down, but we ain't really seen him. The Fujimoto, is it, or something? I think I tweeted about him at the time. He just looks like another Miyoshi to me. Lightweight, going to get bullied around the pitch. So I don't think he's going to come in and do much. So, 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10. We didn't quite drop the splash the cash that I think we was made out that was going to happen by the owners. But let's see what January brings.
Okay. If it cheers you up any, I went to watch Everton and Aston Villa at the weekend, and I've got to be quite frank and honest with you. They are garbage. Absolutely garbage. We should have thrashed them 3, if not 4. There you go. They are stinking. Just to lighten the mood a little bit on here. Right. Finally then, international break has come along, and it's always thrown up this question. What would you rather see your club or your country do well if you had the choice? So to make it a bit interesting, so Adam, Portsmouth away. It's the final day of the season. You're at Fratton Park, and you can take a 1-0 win at Fratton Park, and it sees Blues go up to the Premier League, or you can wait a month and be sat with your family in a beer garden somewhere in Birmingham and watch England lift the World Cup.
I'm always club over country. Always club over country, mate. So I'd rather watch Blues go up.
Okay. Jason?
I think if it was worded a little bit differently, so if it was Blues to win the Champions League or the World Cup, then I'd be siding with Blues. But I think at some point it's got to fall for us and we'll go up. So I think I'd go World Cup just because it's been so long.
Okay. Paul?
I'd have gone for us to be promoted out of League One over England winning the World Cup. I'd go Blues winning something and doing better every time.
Yeah.
I feel
Keep
like
some
there's
of it,
more of a Birmingham City is mine, whereas England is everyone else's. So it's that's just how I feel about it. I'd rather Blues won
I think
next
it was
week
Blues.
than England.
Every 2 years we get told we're going to win the Euros or the World Cup, and it never happens. So you're like, I'm kind of done with that now. Like I'd rather Blues try and do something because I know that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I see a Blues fan in the answer to this question on the forum saying, "Look, I'd rather see Birmingham win a corner than England win, win the World Cup." So, right, okay, enjoy the Swansea game. Then we'll see you back here in 7 days' time. Hopefully, a bit more happy with 3 points on the board. And no more of this Chris Davis out nonsense. Stop it. It's not fair. See you then in 7 days.